Her stomach twists before her eyes even open. 3 days. No meat. No roots. Nothing but frozen ground and the sound of her own hunger, gnawing louder than the wind outside the shelter. She doesn't sit up slowly. She doesn't stretch. She moves. Because moving is the only thing standing between her and starving where she lies 47,000 years ago. There is no first meal. There is no guaranteed meal. Every single day begins with the same question. Will there be food or won't there? The children are already awake, silent, watching her. Not crying. They learned not to cry. Crying wastes energy. The body doesn't have any more. Outside, the grassland is dead. Frost has taken the last of the roots. The herds moved on 11 days ago. She counted every one. Her people call this the hungry season. Not because it happens sometimes. Because it happens every year. And every year, someone doesn't survive it. She checks the traps first. Empty. She checks the second line, further out, colder ground. Empty. Her hands are already shaking. Not from fear. From lack of food. From cold. From a body starting to consume itself. The science is simple and brutal. No fuel in. The body eats its own muscle to survive. The old man by the fire hasn't eaten in 5 days. He gives his share to the children without being asked. No one speaks of it. Everyone understands the arithmetic of survival here. Some bodies are spent so others can continue. This is not sacrifice. This is math, and the math is merciless. She takes the spear, sharpened bone, tied with sinew, the only weapon her hands have ever known. The hunting party is smaller this year. 2 of the strongest didn't wake up last winter. She doesn't think about that. Thinking about that costs energy. And energy is the only currency left. They track a set of prints in the frost. Deer, maybe 2 days old. 2 days is too long. But 2 days old is still a chance. And a chance is more than they had this morning. They move fast, low, silent. Every wasted step is a wasted meal. They cannot afford to lose. By midday, the trail splits into nothing. Rock. Frozen stream. The prints vanish like they were never there. She kneels, presses her palm to the cold ground, and feels something close to despair. Except despair is a feeling for people who still have the energy left to feel it. The hunger doesn't just live in the stomach anymore. It's in her hands, clumsy, slower to grip. In her eyes, the edges of her vision going soft and gray. In her thinking, decisions taking longer, mistakes coming easier. This is what 4 days without food actually does to a human body. They find a frozen berry bush, half stripped by something that got there first. She eats 3 shriveled berries without waiting to check if they're safe. 3 days of hunger erases caution. It erases almost everything except one instinct, buried deep. Find food, or the story ends here. That night, the group gathers what little they found. Berries. A handful of grubs pulled from beneath bark. It is not a meal. It is barely a mouthful each, but it is shared exactly, evenly, without argument. Because 47,000 years before your first meal, hoarding food meant someone else's child didn't wake up. She watches the fire and thinks of a different kind of hunt. Not chasing, waiting. Her grandmother once spoke of driving animals toward a cliff edge instead of chasing them across open ground. Less strength needed, less energy spent. A starving body cannot outrun a healthy deer. But it can outthink one. At first light, she tells the hunting party her idea. Some doubt her. There's no time to doubt. She leads them toward the ridge above the frozen stream, the one place deer are forced to cross single file. If this fails, there is no second attempt left in any of them. They wait for hours in the cold, unmoving, conserving every last scrap of strength. Waiting costs less than chasing. That is the calculation. Not luck. Brutal, desperate calculation. The kind that separates the ones who make it through the season from the ones whose names are simply not spoken again. Movement. A young deer, alone, stepping onto the frozen crossing. Every hunter goes still. This is the only chance the ridge will give them today, maybe the only one all week. Her fingers tighten on the spear. Her body is starving. But her mind, right now, is completely, terrifyingly clear. The spear leaves her hand exactly once. There is no second throw in a body this depleted. It finds its mark. The deer falls at the edge of the ice. For 1 second, no one moves. Because after days like these, even good news takes a moment for the body to believe. Then it is not silence anymore. It is motion, fast, efficient, practiced. Nothing is wasted. Meat, hide, bone, sinew, marrow. Every part of this one animal will keep someone alive through the coming days. In a world without a first meal guaranteed, waste is the closest thing to a crime. Back at the shelter, the fire is built higher than it has been in a week. The smell of meat reaches the children before the hunters do, And for the first time in days, someone cries. Not from hunger this time. Relief, in a body this starved, feels almost like pain. They eat carefully, not all at once. A starved body that eats too fast can die from the shock of it. The stomach, weakened, cannot process a sudden feast. Even survival has rules. Even a full meal, out here, can still be a threat if you don't understand your own body's limits. What isn't eaten tonight is smoked over the fire, hung high, protected from scavengers. This single kill must stretch across many mouths for many days. She watches the smoke curl upward and understands something clearly. Survival was never one moment. It is 100 small decisions, made correctly, again and again. 3 days later, the meat is already thinning. The hungry season is not finished with them. It never finishes early. The elders speak of moving south, toward a river that never fully freezes. A journey of many days, through open land, with bodies still weak from the winter behind them. The decision is not simple. Staying means the last of the smoked meat runs out within the week. Leaving means days of walking on empty stomachs, through territory that isn't theirs. There is no safe choice here. There is only the choice more likely to leave someone standing at the end of it. They leave at dawn. The strongest carry the youngest. The old man who gave his food away insists on walking unaided. He knows what it costs the group to carry him, and he will not be the reason someone else falls behind. Out here, dignity and survival are often the same decision. By the second day, the land turns unfamiliar. Rock formations no one recognizes. Tracks that don't belong to any animal they know. Another group's fire pit, still faintly warm, tells her they are not alone out here. And in the hungry season, another group can mean a rival for the same food. That night they see the other fire in the distance, small, flickering, deliberately hidden. Neither group approaches. Both understand the same brutal truth without a single word exchanged. There is barely enough food out here for one starving group. There is not enough for two. She keeps watch through the night, spear across her knees, eyes on the distant glow. Sleep is a luxury the hungry season doesn't often allow. By morning, the other fire is gone, and so are they. Moving on, choosing distance over conflict, neither side can afford to survive. On the fourth day, a child stumbles and doesn't get up right away. Legs shaking, vision swimming. This is what severe hunger does to the smallest bodies first, the ones with the least reserve to draw from. She lifts the child herself. The group does not stop moving. Stopping here means dying here. By the fifth day, she can hear the river before she can see it. A sound none of them have heard in months, water that isn't frozen solid. The whole group quickens, pulled forward by something stronger than exhaustion. Hope, it turns out, still has a pull on a starving body. The riverbank is alive. Fish moving beneath the surface, reeds thick with birds' nests, tracks of animals that came here to drink. After a season of nothing, it looks almost impossible. She stands at the edge of it and understands. This river is the difference between her people ending here or continuing. They build the fish traps her grandmother taught her, woven branches, staked into the shallows, funnel-shaped so the fish swim in and cannot swim out. It costs almost no strength to maintain, almost no risk. This is survival's oldest lesson. The smartest solution is rarely the one that costs the most. Within 2 days, the traps are full. Fish, more than they've seen in one place in a year. They eat until the ache in their stomachs is something other than emptiness. For the first time since the frost came, no one at the fire that night is thinking only about tomorrow's hunger. But she doesn't stop working. While others rest, she smokes the extra fish over slow fire, drying strips for the journey still ahead. The hungry season always returns. The only real defense against it is preparation done now, while there's still strength left to do the preparing at all. She teaches the youngest ones how to read the water, where fish gather, which plants along the bank are safe, which ones will kill you slowly over days. This knowledge has no name, no written record. It exists only because someone survives long enough to pass it to the next person. Weeks pass at the river. The group grows stronger. Not fat, never fat, but steady. Muscle returning where the body had begun eating itself. Color returning to faces that were gray with exhaustion. This is what enough food actually looks like on a human being who has known real hunger. Then the nights start turning colder again. The signs are unmistakable to anyone who has lived through this cycle before. Shorter days, birds moving south, the river's edge beginning to harden at dawn. The hungry season is coming back around, the same as it always does, the same as it always will. This time, they are ready. Smoked fish stored high and dry. Hides prepared for warmth. A route already scouted back toward better shelter before the deep freeze arrives. The difference between this season and the last one isn't luck. It's every hard lesson the hunger already taught them, now put to use. The old man who once starved himself for the children eats a full share now, for the first time in a long while. No one argues. The group understands something she has known since the ridge, since the deer, since the fire that first night. Survival is never one person's effort alone. As the first hard frost returns, she stands at the edge of the camp and looks out at the land that nearly killed her people months ago. It looks the same. It is not the same. She is not the same. The hunger changed something in her that will never fully leave Dot somewhere. 47,000 years from this frozen ground, someone will open a door, reach into a cupboard, and eat without a single thought of where the food came from, or whether it might be the last meal for days. They will never know this feeling. That is the whole point of everything she just survived. Her stomach doesn't twist this morning. For the first